3 days ago was an amazing day for hypercar fans worldwide, and while I mainly cover Japanese cars or old European cars on this channel, I would be absolutely lying to you, sir, if I said that I didn't immediately think to myself, I have got to tell my subscribers about this car. So here it is, everything that we know so far on the brand new Koenigsegg CC850. Really quickly, we're going to go over a quick little history lesson for you so you guys understand the true importance of this car, because back in the wonderful year of 2002, Koenigsegg launched onto the scene with its very first production car, the CC8S. And that car, in case you don't know, was an absolute monster, ranking as one of the fastest cars of all time, and most certainly one of the most iconic cars of all time. It literally started it all for Koenigsegg, which is a brand that nowadays has made some of the world's most desired cars out there, like the Agera, the Jesko, and the Regera, which is probably the only electric car I'd be happy to own. So just a short 20 years later, even though the design of the CC8S is by no means outdated, Koenigsegg decided to pay tribute to the car that started it all for them. And 3 days ago, August 19th, 2022, they revealed the world to the Koenigsegg CC850, a modernization that is being praised as one of the best modernizations of a hypercar of all time, and I can't say I disagree. They absolutely nailed it. Now, for the looks, well, let's put it this way. If you took some random guy off the streets and told him to tell the difference between the CC8S and the CC850, they'd have a pretty hard time. Which, yes, you might be able to say, like, that means that they're just being lazy, but I promise you it is far from that. They obviously completely changed the whole body of the car to fit with modern technology and to make use of the insane power that the car is going to make, but they kept the huge scoop in the side of the car that the original had, and they just made the headlights and taillights very modern LEDs, but with a minimalistic design to it to give it that feeling of being from the 2000s, but while being very obviously a modern car. So I promise you, they did not just take the old platform of the CC8S and change around a couple things and call it a new car, even though it does kind of look like that. Now, on the interior, it's the exact same deal as the exterior. They kept it very minimalistic while just obviously bringing some of the features of their current models to this model, so it isn't just completely outdated. Because let's face it, the interior of cars has changed drastically in the last 20 years. So in terms of the looks, I think we can all agree that they did exactly what they set out to do. They wanted to bring the CC8S to 2020s and show the car what the world can do nowadays, and I think the CC8S would be incredibly happy to have its name slapped onto this new car. On top of just the wonderful additions to the looks of this car, they also decided they needed more speed somehow. Koenigsegg wasn't happy making a car that literally had a 1-to-1 power to weight ratio. So they gave this monster a massive 5-liter twin turbocharged V8 that's actually in the Jesko that manages to crank out, are you ready for this, buddy? 1,385 horsepower, son. That's right, son. This thing is going to have 1,400 horsepower pretty much in a car that only weighs 1,385 kilograms, or 3,000 pounds if you're in the Americas, which makes this the second Koenigsegg model ever to have a 1-to-1 power to weight ratio. That is freaking insane, guys. In case you don't know, a 1-to-1 power to weight ratio is nuts. Yes, it isn't 1-to-1 when using pounds, but a car like that would be literally undrivable, so that makes sense. Back in 2002, the CC8S only made 655 horsepower, so this is literally double the power from the CC8S, which in my personal opinion, if you can get 735 more horsepower in just 20 years, that's a pretty huge success.
Cannot afford. Great success.
Now, the main thing that everybody has their eyes on, however, is not the wonderful styling to it, and it is not the insanely powerful engine that it has, but it's actually the transmission, because this is going to be the first car to have both a manual and automatic transmission on it. Okay, I kind of lied to you a little bit there. That's not really how the car works, but it pretty much does when driving it. What they did is they came up with something called the ESS, or the Engage Shift System, which is based on the Jesko's 9-speed transmission, which, in case you don't know, shifts gears lightning fast. You can't even freaking count. You're like, it's insane how fast. I don't know what noise I just made there, but it's fast. However, the difference in this car is that this car has a third pedal and an H pattern attached to the automatic shifter. Now, what the heck would you need an H pattern for in an automatic car, buddy? Well, I'll tell you. You can literally go from driving an automatic transmission, which, by the way, is one of the most advanced automatic transmissions in the world, to banging through gears yourself in a matter of seconds with this new transmission. Now, the way this trans actually works is honestly a little bit too confusing for me to fully understand, but pretty much it doesn't actually mechanically shift the gears when you push the clutch in and pull that shifter back. What happens is there's actually wires that shift the gears for you, which may sound a bit odd, and trust me, it is very odd, but I promise it's not going to make the feeling of driving a manual transmission any different at all. And with this incredibly influential piece of technology, the gearbox can now change its own gear ratios when you shift, even in manual mode, which is obviously something that has never been done before, because obviously a manual transmission doesn't have a computer to change the gear ratios. And to be honest with you, when I heard this for the first time, I felt like a freaking kid again. Like, if that isn't exciting information for us car guys in a time where manuals are barely even being made anymore, I don't know what is. Like, this car has the potential to bring this new transmission idea of being both a manual and an automatic to the mass market and absolutely saving the manuals altogether. And personally, I don't know about you guys, but I am just so excited about this trans. I know it sounds stupid, but it's probably the coolest thing a car company has done for car guys in quite some time. But with every good thing that comes out, however, there is always going to be someone who hates it. And sadly, it has already started with the CC850. There are people saying, excuse me, that this transmission is actually a disgrace to manuals, and it is not a manual at all, since it doesn't manually shift the gears. But I highly disagree. I think, and this is the sad truth here, I know you guys are going to get offended by this, but I think that manuals do need to be reworked now. They are being outperformed at every corner, and while I 100% agree that they don't deserve to go away, I do think they needed some work on them, and Koenigsegg is making the best efforts that they can to save the manuals and make them competitive again, while still keeping the feeling of driving a manual transmission that we all love, while also being able to drive it in automatic for all the people who want to just drive an automatic instead. And I absolutely praise them for that. They're literally making both sides happy, and somehow people are upset about that. So Koenigsegg has done something that every other car brand struggles to do. They built a car that not only lives up to its predecessor's name, but massively improves on it. And I cannot wait to see what this car can actually do performance-wise. Will it be actually competitive in the hypercar game, or is it just a marketing gimmick? Who knows? But one thing I do know is this car is changing history in front of our very eyes. That is the end of this video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment another video you'd like to see down below, and subscribe to the channel for more. I had a blast making this video. This car is unreal. Unreal. I know I'm not a huge hypercar guy. I don't usually talk about hypercars on this channel. I have to talk about this because this car is insane. It is so cool. If you don't think this is cool, you're wrong. You are wrong. It is a cool car, but it's awesome. It's just such a good car. So let me know what other videos you'd like to see me like deep dive, what other cars you'd like to see me deep dive into, and give you like guys like the whole history on it. You guys obviously like this series, so thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. I like doing this series. It does take a lot of work, but it's well worth it because you guys love it so much, and it really does teach me a lot. So let me know what other cars you'd like to see in the series, and yeah, das vidanya. Have a nice night. Boo.